Welcome to the SVG-TV News. I'm Khalil Kato with the details. Several Vincentians have developed long COVID symptoms 8 to 12 weeks after they have recovered from the COVID-19 infection. This is according to Medical Officer Dr. Malcolm Grant during NBC Radio's face-to-face program discussing long COVID and vaccination.
And, there are people here in St. Vincent who are suffering with such, and I personally definitely 5, but I was spoken to other doctors and they too know quite a few, and I don't think we're quite scratching the surface. The last person I saw was a young lady who was a teacher in one of our primary schools, and I saw her last week, the last person I saw with such, and she was complaining that since having COVID, she has been finding great difficulty concentrating, as far as her work is concerned, and that's extremely worrisome, obviously.
Long COVID is a term used to describe the effects of COVID-19 that continue for weeks or months beyond the initial illness, and Dr. Grant outlined the signs and symptoms of long COVID.
And it is shown that a significant percentage of those who are no longer positive for the virus do have persistent symptoms. And these persistent symptoms can vary from neurological, for example, loss of memory, inability to concentrate, forgetfulness, brain fog, depression, even early signs of Alzheimer's disease. It can affect the heart and lungs, which can result in shortness of breath and minimal exertion. It can affect the kidneys, which can result in renal failure. It can affect the pancreas, which can result in type 1 diabetes, where insulin is actually required. It can affect the liver and a few other organ systems.
The medical officer said that because of the severe impact of the COVID-19 virus and the impact that long COVID has on the organs of the body, it is very worrying, noting that international reports have shown that up to 20% of persons who had the COVID-19 infection became disabled.
Example, NIS, etc. When the rates were calculated many moons ago, this was not taken into consideration. That you would have young individuals who would not be, because they're no longer able to work, and unfortunately, a lot of these young individuals obviously would have commitments, hire purchase, financial, car loans, mortgages, etc. And you're unable to work, and it's a social sort of crisis situation. So yeah, that's basically what long COVID is in a nutshell.
5,469 cases of COVID-19 and 4,907 recoveries have been recorded in St. Vincent and the Grenadines since March 2020. The 12 businesses owned by women across St. Vincent and the Grenadines are the recipients of COVID relief grants from the government of the Republic of China on Taiwan. The grants were awarded to the entrepreneurs who participated in the Women's Empowerment Project funded by Taiwan through the Center for Enterprise Development Incorporated, CED. The project, which catered to 27 female entrepreneurs in 2 categories, is an initiative entitled Assisting the Economic Empowerment of Women in Latin America and the Caribbean in the Post-Pandemic of COVID-19. The objective is to boost the country's economy in light of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and to maintain social stability by strengthening women's economic empowerment through employment and entrepreneurship. Under the project, 12 entrepreneurs were selected by the Center for, that should be by the CED, who participated in a series of management training sessions conducted by the Taiwan Technical Mission, supported by the CED, between September and October. Head of the Embassy of the Republic of China, Taiwan, Ambassador Peter Shali Lan, presented grants of 8,000 EC dollars to the businesses at the embassy yesterday. The grants will be used to purchase equipment and supplies for the businesses to improve their operations. Ambassador Lan, in his remarks, explained the overall goal of the Women's Empowerment Project and praised the joint effort between the Taiwan Technical Mission and CED for implementing the project and congratulated the recipients. One of the grant awardees, fashion designer Peter Odini Sutherland, expressed gratitude to Taiwan and CED, stating that this was the first time she has been engaged in any major business training that will benefit her business. Minister of Agriculture Soboto Caesar assures farmers and other stakeholders in the food productivity sector that 2022 is going to be an excellent year for all. Addressing the handing over ceremony of 2 greenhouses, the Minister of Agriculture said next year will see an increase in production, productivity and participation in the industry.
And coming several months post the volcanic eruptions of La Soufrière, we have to press the reset button on many initiatives, and we have to ensure that we have a well-planned, structured, and conceived path for the future.
Minister Caesar, however, noted that for there to be any increase in the food production or the agriculture sector in SVG and other small island states, there are 4 fundamental pillars that must be addressed.
Firstly, there has to be a clear expression and appreciation of the political will. And I am stating that today, that I am going to renew my efforts as minister, and I am speaking on behalf of the entire staff of the ministry. We are also going to renew our efforts to better serve the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the OECS, CARICOM, and the world. The challenges are going to be great, but with challenges, there are many opportunities. And I am certain that with a clear articulation of the political will, that we will be able to sit down with stakeholders throughout the value chain and come up with very important amendments to the jurisprudential framework within which we are currently operating.
Minister Caesar said there are 6 areas of growth that the Ministry of Agriculture will focus on in 2022, noting that he hopes to see an increase in livestock farming in SVG.
Firstly, we are going to spend a lot of time addressing livestock development. Currently, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are the largest exporter of livestock, live animals, in the OECS. Some persons had the cattle, and this definitely assisted in income generation. And coming on to Christmas, like all know, a farmer will slaughter an animal and will sell it to people in the village. And that money you could use to buy your curtains, that money you could use to take your children to town. And we have that as a part of our culture. We have an opportunity in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to expand livestock.
Caesar added that the Ministry of Agriculture will shift its approach of how how production is categorized in 2022.
You don't have the right laws on the books. You don't have the legal framework within which you can succeed. And we are going to see many conversations, listen to many conversations across this country in 2022, because the voice of the people must be heard in participating to create the necessary amendments to the laws touching and concerning food production.
A 29-year-old farmer of North Union is one of the recipients of the 2 greenhouse structures that were handed over yesterday by AICA and the Ministry of Agriculture. Jonathan Durant, a member of the Youth Awareness Group, has been farming for years on over 20 acres of land in his community. The Agriculture Minister spoke highly of Durant, noting that he is a great influence to all the youth in the community.
And I put that in the context where there are some people who are saying that you don't have young people in agriculture and that we have to do more, and we are doing more to ensure that we encourage other young persons to be engaged in agriculture. And I really want to thank the extension staff because they are on the front line, meeting persons throughout the length and breadth of this country and providing technical support. Because the first question I asked him, I said to him, do you see anybody from the ministry coming to your farm? And he said to me, it's almost like if two persons from the ministry are assigned to my farm. They're coming there, they're helping me not only with production techniques, but they're also helping me with marketing.
Minister Caesar encouraged Durant to use the greenhouse structure to increase his food production.
Over 20 acres of land, you can see a youngster like Jonathan being able to influence other young people in his community. Very soon we are going to see the opening of Love You. We are going to see in a matter of months Sandals opening its doors. And as the pandemic closes, we are going to see more and more hotels and restaurants demanding a lot of the produce from farmers, young farmers like Mr. Durant. And I really want to take this opportunity to wish you all the very best. And what is being handed over to you today, I want you to carry it and let it be an asset for your advancement. And not only you, but the other people in your community.
The young farmer thanked the Ministry of Agriculture and AICA for the donation.
Good morning to the Minister of Agriculture, other stakeholders. It's a pleasant feeling to be here today to this handing over ceremony of this greenhouse, which I am a proud holder of one also. I am the owner of JJ's Farm. I operate a 23-acre farm in South Central Wynwood. And I want to say this morning, this greenhouse is a really good initiative towards my productivity on my farm, because my plan here is to ramp up production for the upcoming years. And so I want to say a special thanks to everyone again.
The Union Island Secondary School comped all the prizes in the Secondary Idea category of the NTRC's 2021 I-Code 784 competition, which ended on Wednesday. The team, Union Island Secondary, took the first place position. Union Island Secondary School Study Buddies second spot, and third place went to the Union Island Secondary School Team A. The school also copped the top prize for the school with the most entries in the competition. In the secondary mobile category, only 2 schools competed, with the Jayan Innovations from the St. Vincent Girls High School taking the first place, and second going to the Union Island Secondary School Coding Kids team. Meanwhile, the Team Astra took the first and second places in the open category, while third place went to the group Year 10. Commending their performances in this year's competition, the judges said that they were very pleased with all the presentations.
The presentation, I find they were well crafted and presented. I can see a lot of work, hard work and time went into creating those apps. Looking at those apps, I can see the future for technology in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The disappointment I have is that there aren't more women in the competition. I know that we had, I think, 1 team in the preliminaries, but hopefully next year and the years to follow, we'll have more women coming into the competition, because women in tech is something that we have to try to push, and I hope maybe the NTRC can probably do some some pushing in that area just to reach out to more women and to allow them to be motivated enough to come into these competitions. All the apps were well presented, they were good. They're apps that I wish I could use right now, to be honest.
Based upon what I saw, there were a lot of work that was put into these apps. I'd just like to congratulate the teams on those. Again, the presentations were well done. I enjoyed all of them.
11 Coast Guard officers are now more equipped to carry out their required duties as they successfully completed the RSS Basic Seamanship Course 1 2021. The 4-week course was conducted at the Coast Guard base by SVG Coast Guard instructors and had presentations via Zoom from the RSS instructors. Of the 11 participants, 3 came from the Seamanship Department, 2 from administration, and 6 from engineering. Speaking at the closing ceremony for the RSS training course, Chief Petty Officer Brangergan Glasgow said the aim of the course, which began on November 1st and concluded today, was to equip, qualify, and certify all participants with knowledge and skills of seamanship. He further outlined some of the topics that were covered during the training.
Anchoring theory and practical, towing procedures, man overboard procedures and drills, stability of vessels, communication, marine communication that is, sea survival, boat crew responsibility, casualty control, aids to navigation, international law, navigation, the GPS and radar, code procedures, chain of custody, use of force, it is maritime, marine law enforcement, boat handling, rules of the road, SAR procedures and practical, force aid, passage planning, concept of operation, and intel threat update. Not forgetting engineers data segment on basic engineering casualties.
Outlining the performances of the participants, Petty Officer Glasgow said all of them did well. He encouraged them to use what was taught to make the SVG Coast Guard proud.
Upon completion of the training, the following participants scored the highest in the different modules. Best at physical was Able Seaman Melville. Best at practical, Able Seaman Dick. Best at navigation, we had a tie, Able Seaman Boyd and Nanton. Best at rules and road, Able Seaman Melville. And best at academics, Able Seaman Dick. The most outstanding participant with an average of 84.95 was Able Seaman Dick. The course average was 72.46. The required average to successfully complete the course was 60%.